Let's have a look at and discuss the points of the new Hedonites of Slaanesh battle tomes, the new units. Hello Warhammerers, this is Chris speaking, 60 Goblins and 1 Brush, and today 2 new battle tomes have been released for pre-order, the Hedonites of Slaanesh and the Daughters of Canaan. Today I want to talk about the points of the new units in the new Hedonites of Slaanesh battle tome. The new battle tome seems to bring the Slaanesh army back to a very powerful state, like it has been when it came out a few years ago. Back then it was a bit OP, let's see how it is now. It might be also quite strong. The points of the new units are quite high. So it either means that they're too expensive or that the army, how it plays out now, is very powerful. I'm not going to summarize the whole battle tome, I'm just talking about the points of the new units here, and we'll discuss them with you. There are 2 units that are only half new, we know already, which is the Lord of Pain, 150 points, and the Dread Pageant, 120. Could be 10 points too much, but could be alright. Never only the War Scroll by itself, it's the whole game mechanics of the whole battle tome. And now right to the juicy stuff. Glutos or Cillian, 400 points. A 400 points model has to be very, very powerful, otherwise it's not worth taking. Anything above 300 points, you have to have a very good reason to take it, otherwise it's a waste of points. He reminds me a lot of Catacross. 18 wounds, 74 pounds, 400 points. What I really like about him is what they did with the rules and his fluff. In the first battle round, it's his aperitif. The second battle round is the starter. The third battle round is the main course. The fourth is the dessert. The fifth is a digestif. And then he can cast 2 spells, and one of them is called Crippling Famishment. So while he is stuffing himself full of food, of delicacies, he is sending everyone else into a famine, which halves an enemy unit's charge, move, and run rolls. So while time will tell if the model is worth 400 points, he will definitely be a lot of fun to play. The next juicy character is Sigvald, of course. Sigvald is 260 points. He is reminiscent of the Light of Eltharion, of course, who's 220 points, which was probably too cheap. I have a bit of a feeling that they learned from the mistakes of making the Lumineth too cheap, and now those are the real points on the Slaanesh battle tome. And in June we will have points increases for the Lumineth. He has only 6 wounds, but a 3 save, a 4+ aftershave. He has a minimum of 5 attacks and a maximum of 12 attacks, because the +3 to charge does not count, it's unmodified. Still, 12 attacks, D3 damage at 2 rend. He always fights first, and I think this is something that has to be FAQ'd very soon. Wounds inflicted by an attack made with Shard Slash cannot be negated. That means no ethereal rule and no aftersave. After discussing it with a few people, this does not refer to the normal armor save. Still, that's pretty powerful. A potential 36 wounds at 2 rend, no aftersave. Wow, I'm really looking forward to trying him out, especially against Eltharion. Watch my Who is Sigvald video if you want to know who is Sigvald. Next are the archers we were hoping for. And bear in mind that the Lumineth Sentinels are 140 points, which will probably be raised to 160 or 180, but right now they're still 140. The Blizzbarb archers on foot are 160 points, more expensive than the Sentinels. Also bear in mind that there could be some exploding 6s at work here, but they have 2 attacks, 18 range, 4+4+, 1 rend, 1 damage. There's an 11th model, the Homunculus, who gives them +1 to wound, but I still don't think it's 160 points. Next, the Mounted Cavalry for 180 points for 5. They have 3 attacks each, 4+4+, 18 inches, also the same. They can cause a mortal wound on a 6 to wound, and they also have the run and shoot, but they have 14 inches range. 20 wounds, 180 points for an archery unit. Yeah, that could be okay. Next are the Slick Blade Seekers. Very similar, only with glaives instead of bows. 3 attacks with their 2-inch range glaives. 3+3+, 1 rend, 1 damage. A 6 to wound is an additional mortal wound. Again, within the rules context of the whole battle tome, it might be worth 200 points, which is what they cost. But I doubt it, because then they would be more expensive than the Fiends, which are one of the most powerful unit in the whole game, who are 180. Next are the Slangor Fiendbloods, which are the Bulgors of Slaanesh. I must say that I'm a little bit disappointed about the design. This is not my cup of tea. I like the Bulgors and I like the Slaanesh stuff, but this... no. We have played Beasts of Chaos Slaanesh with exploding 6s before. They're good, but they're not super strong. I heard the 150 points, but I think they're also 140. They have only 3 wounds, not 4, but they do have the Beasts of Chaos keyword. And while the Bulgors have 4 wounds and also the horn attack, and a 6 to wound is an additional mortal wound, the Slangor Fiendbloods have 3 attacks with their claws, but only 1 damage, not 2. They have 4 attacks if they charged. The chief of the unit, the Slaghorn, has an additional gilded weapon, but only him. And now the interesting rule is the obsessive violence. I love the term obsessive violence.
Yes.
So let's see if that really does make the difference. You pick 1 unit within 3 inches. 3 inches is nice. At the end of the combat phase, or before the battle shock phase, and then as many Slangors as you have in your unit, you roll, and on a 4+, the chosen enemy unit gets 1 mortal wound. That's not much actually. That will be between 1.5 and 3 mortal wounds. I don't think that's obsessive, and they're only 3 wounds, so too expensive. Next we have a new Slaanesh mortal wizard, the Shard Speaker. This one has very weird rules. First of all, if he successfully casts a spell, then he gets +2 to save, and he can use the claws for melee attacks. Also, he has a free ability on a 3+. You can cast a debuff on an enemy unit, and everyone who attacks that enemy unit adds 1 to wound roll. For both abilities you have to get really close and maybe into melee. And then the spell 12 inches reach only. On a 6 you can pick 1 unit. That enemy gets a -1 to wound debuff. The Shard Speaker is 150 points, which I think is too much. And lastly, we have 2 very beautiful combat elite units, the Painbringers and the Twin Souls, which remind me a little bit concept-wise of the Wrathmongers and the Skull Reapers, which have 3 wounds each and 140 and 180 respectively. Now the Painbringers are 150 points. They have 2 wounds each, 2 attacks. A 6 to wound is an additional mortal wound, and you can re-roll save rolls, which is nice. Still 150 points, not sure. The Phoenix Guard is 160 points, and they have a 4+ aftersave. Even more surprising, the Simbaresh Twin Souls, which you can build from the same kit, 170 points, even more. Very cool is that the champion of this unit is called an Ego Pomp. They have 3 attacks with 2 range and 2 damage, but 4+ to hit, which is very strange for an elite unit. And each round you have to choose one of those 2 abilities, and you can never choose the same ability in the following round. The first one is reroll hit rolls, which is called Ego Driven Access, or Fiendish Reflexes, which is a 5+ aftersave. There seems to be no newborn in this battle tome. This might still take a while. So please leave your comments below in the discussions. I want to know your opinions about the points. As I said, one has to view these points and war scrolls in the context of the whole allegiance abilities and battle tome. So they might be worth those points, but my feeling is that they're a little bit expensive. It depends on how the depravity point thing works, I guess. So we have to try them out in battle. I remember when the Seraphon book came out, everyone thought, okay, this will be a very weak army, and then it turned out to be one of the top 5. I'm very much looking forward to Sigvald, but actually to try out all these models. Sigvald, fortunately, is not expensive, money-wise and probably points-wise neither. I think all these new units, mortal Slaanesh units, cannot be accused of being too cheap point-wise. But the rules sound promising. And I like it that we got more battle line options. The Painbringers, the Twin Souls, the Blizzbarb Archers. So this video is about discussing the points with you. So please leave your comments below. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing or joining me on Patreon or sharing the videos with your friends, and see you soon.
Hear the song of Slaanesh. Hear this dirge and despair. Shred their sanity with our song.